Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are finally heading out for the GT350R driving review. It's a perfect day here in Iowa, low 80s, the sun is shining, so we're gonna head out and give you my first impressions of this epic Mustang. So stick with us as we go for a drive. All right guys, time for a drive. You know what it's about, man. That engine, pretty epic noises come from this thing, man. We got a nice little C8 there, top down. If you didn't already know, this is my new C8. We sold the C8 to get the 350R, man. We enjoyed the C8 for a little bit, but the time was right to get rid of the C8 and pick up the best Mustang out there, in my opinion, right now. So we've had this for about a little over 4 weeks, getting close to 5 weeks now, and put a couple 100 miles on it, but this is the first time out with the cameras, so we'll give you guys a rundown of my first impressions of the 350R. I did have that 2016 350 for a couple weeks last year, so we kind of got a taste for the 350, but this one's just on another level with the rear seat delete, the carbon fiber wheels, a little bit better aero. It's got the bigger front splitter and just a little more rare. If you guys know anything about the history of the new S550 350s, that they made around 23,000 of these things between 2015 and 2020, so it was a 6-year run. Technically they did have a few they made in 2015. Those are the really rare ones. They made like 100 350s, and I think it was 37 350Rs for 2015. But the big production numbers started in 2016, which this is a 2016. They made about 6,000 350s, I believe it was, and then 526 Rs for 2016. So this is one of 526 for 2016. The Rs are the more rare one for sure, though. Over the 6-year run, they had, I want to say, it was like 3,500 that they built of the R model, compared to the 20,000 other regular 350s. But yeah, so far definitely enjoying it. I don't know if I notice a whole lot of difference between the regular 350. The big thing, maybe just a tad bit louder, because the Rs have the resonator delete from the factory, so tad bit louder. I thought maybe I would be able to tell the difference on the wheels, since they're supposed to be like 14 pounds a wheel lighter, a lot less unsprung weight. But I honestly can't tell. Maybe you'd tell on a track, but on the street I don't. But I do notice more tram lining, even more so than the regular 350, having those 305 front tires and 315s in the back. Tram lining is bad no matter what 350 you have. But the price you pay for handling, right? Was it worth it to get the R over the regular 350? Well, it just depends if your budget allows for the R. I feel that the R is just, it's a lot more special, even though when you look at it just, you know, for looks wise, it's hard to tell the difference besides the red badging. But people who know the 350 and know Mustangs know the difference, hands down. But I feel that the R being more rare, it's definitely going to hold a little bit more value. Probably be a little easier to sell if you need to. But if you can't afford the extra, 20 grand bump from a used 350 up to an R, definitely do the 350. It's still worth it. You still get the same epic engine. That 5.2 liter flat plane crank sounds phenomenal. The Tremex 6-speed is one of the best manuals I've ever driven. I mean, the manual transmission, its days are numbered, so I mean, I would definitely get a 350 if you can't afford the 350R. It is just an amazing Mustang. Amazing car in general. And that's coming from McLaren's. I had a McLaren last year, and the GT3 Porsche 2 years ago. You compare this to the GT3, I would like to call it the GT3RS of Mustangs is what I feel the 350R is, man. All motor, it spins crazy RPMs like the GT3, sounds phenomenal. So yes, GT3RS of Mustangs for sure. Alright guys, we tried this in the GT350, which was a launch control and a manual. So we've flipped the launch control toggle on. We got LC on the dash. We are going to push in the clutch, rev it out, dump the clutch, see what happens. 4,500, here we go. If anything, we got some 8,000 RPM shifts. That sound never gets old. So as far as the ride goes, it's not that bad. Surprisingly, for a track-focused car on these back roads that are not good, trust me, they're pretty bumpy. That Magna Ride suspension soaks up the bumps pretty well. I was surprised. It feels pretty solid. It's actually more comfortable than what my GT3 was. My GT3 didn't have PASM suspension, the Porsche adjustable suspension, so it was a pretty firm, stiff ride on the GT3. So this is just a tad bit better than that. So if you're thinking the R might be a little harsher on the suspension compared to a 350, I would say it's the same, if not maybe slightly more comfortable. I don't know if the carbon fiber wheels have anything to play with that, with the suspension. Maybe less unsprung weight is what they say, so it could be due to that. Shall we do 8,000 RPM? I think so. Can you see the tram lining? It was all over the road like crazy. But nothing quite sounds like 8,200 RPM and a V8 flat plane crank. Definitely doesn't sound like a Ferrari flat plane crank, but it's definitely an intoxicating sound. It's time to pass. The theater in this thing, man. That's why you buy a GT350. You're senses, the sound, the steering feel. That 6-speed manual Tremec is just like butter. I love this car. I don't know if I said that on video for any of my other cars. I seriously love this car. It's one thing I did learn about this thing. I did not realize that when you have the exhaust valves open, if you throw it in 6th gear, that it has a switch that cuts it off. Cuts off the valves, which most of the time you're probably on the interstate and you want them quiet, but yeah, we'll probably just stay in 5th gear to keep it louder. If you're watching this video thinking about buying a 350, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. You won't regret it. If you're thinking about buying a Mach 1, don't do it. Buy a used GT350 all day. Crazy how well this thing handles for a front engine car. I'm used to the Porsches and the McLarens, the mid-engine stuff, and it's hard to compete with that for handling, but this thing it has a lot to do with these huge tires, but they've got that suspension dialed in, man. It is dialed in. Love it. A Mustang could be this good. Well guys, that about does it for the GT350R First Impressions driving review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I had a blast making it. This car is epic. If you're thinking about getting a 350, just do it. You won't regret it, like I said before. They're a dying breed. I highly doubt Ford ever builds another flat plane crank high performance engine, naturally aspirated. It's just, yeah, it's a special car. So if you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. Have a good one.